Interviews with Haunting Gurus.
My small council reconvenes in the Red Keep for the first time in about 7 years. The Wardens of the West Coast, the Lord and Lady of Davis Graveyard, Jeff and Chris Davis. Me Lord and me Lady.
How you doing, Chris?
Hey.
Hi, Chris.
You guys have plenty of ale and Dornish wine available?
Oh, yeah. Dark and stormy tonight.
Dark and stormy, just like my last date. Boom, boom. I don't know what that means. It just sounds like kind of funny. I don't know. Hey, I was just looking back. The original interview that we had done that aired on Hauntcast, it was Hauntcast 7, Devil's Hangover. That was
Wow.
That was at least 7 years, maybe 7 to 8 years ago.
Wow.
Where has
Yes,
the time gone, guys? Where has it gone?
Time flies.
Jeff, I don't think I really had a chance to chat with you. I was talking with Chris for a little while on the couch, on the big comfy couch.
Yeah, I saw you guys over there.
I know you were jealous. I saw the little rage in your eyes, that was cool because I don't think outside of us talking on that episode of Hauntcast that we'd ever really talked. I mean, we bumped into each other at that HauntCon in Pittsburgh.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk to us at HauntCon or West Coast because we're usually so busy helping out that when we say we'll see you at HauntCon or West Coast, when we don't, we'll have much time to chat.
Yeah, we're always teaching.
So we got to talk for 2 seconds in passing. You guys were heading to do a seminar. Johnny and I were headed to the bar.
We were jealous about that.
Everybody has their priorities, I guess.
And they passed each other, and that was pretty much about it. So that was the first time I think I talked to you. We might have talked for 20 minutes before the night was wrapped up, and Leonard came over and
hijacked us.
Snapped his fingers, and you guys were like, "We're out of here." I go, he doesn't want you hanging out with the riffraff. He's
Got to control us.
Yeah.
Keep us in line.
Trying to keep you respectable.
Yeah. No, maybe.
So now that was your first trip to Transworld, I think, correct?
Yeah, it was first trip to St. Louis.
Yeah.
We went to the one when it was here in Vegas on our end of the
Oh, okay.
country.
Well,
We went to that one.
Also
That's
probably about
10 years ago almost.
8 or 9 years ago, yeah.
yeah, I didn't hear good things about the Vegas show.
No, it was a lot smaller, and the bigger problem was that because it's at Vegas, people go to the show floor and then they go off and do casino stuff and shows, and you never see anybody.
Yeah,
there's no hanging out at the hotels and
there's way
stuff afterwards.
Way too much going on in Vegas. People, there's cheetahs.
That's right.
And all those other places to hang out. For the guys, at least. Then, so what did you guys think of the first really your St. Louis blowout? What did you guys think of the show?
It was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, wow. Talk about a lot to do, a lot to see. A lot of friends to catch up with.
Yeah, we did a lot of that. We kind of went as attendees so that we could just roam around and talk to people and say hi to vendors we hadn't seen in a while and talk to people. It's like Chris sitting and talking with you, having the chance to do that because we're not doing anything else. So that was nice. That was really nice.
Yeah, good to catch up with our friends and actually say hi.
Roam the show floor.
Got to attend a class instead of teaching one. That was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
What was Mike's class?
Mike Cresser taught
I can't remember the name.
thought process of creativity or something like that, I think it was called.
Oh.
It was just kind of his process that he goes through when he's working on a new project.
Yeah, and ways to find inspiration. It was good.
It was good.
He definitely has been one of our mentors. That was kind of great to see him again. Oh, I think he actually made us come to the class because he mentioned us. We're sitting there and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you set us up.
Yeah, he points us out.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, you loved it. Stop it.
I told him to forget my phone number.
He still hasn't done that, though.
Yeah, don't call me again.
And then you guys, so this year you also did HauntCon and on the West Coast Haunters Convention, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Birmingham for HauntCon, and of course here in Portland for West Coast.
Yeah.
That's nice because it's in your own backyard, so the West Coast thing is convenient.
We're a lot more involved in that one too. We sit on the board, and we.
Oh, I didn't know you were board members.
Yeah, can you believe that?
So
believe it or not, and actually, Jeff is actually on a school board too. Weird shit happens. What can I say?
Yeah, respectable and everything.
So what was the deal with the West Coast this year? You did your plethora of seminars, and but you also got your hands into everything else pretty much.
We because we're on the board, we handle registration and all the events and just kind of involved in everything.
Well, with a group of people, we don't do everything.
There's a board of 7 people, and we all have kind of our area of Chris is the treasurer, and I'm the assistant operations manager. So I deal with registration and pre-packet pickups and all that kind of stuff, and all the computerized website stuff, and because that's what I do for a living. And Chris handles the treasury stuff and the auctions and all the hotel relations.
What seminars did you do?
We taught a workshop on making baby demon skeletons.
Which is a lot of fun.
24-inch skeletons, and then a lot of epoxy sculpt for horns and fangs and stuff. That's like an hour-long workshop. People love that. Sold out.
Yeah, we did that at HauntCon, too.
We did it at HauntCon. And then we did a seminar on how to make realistic-looking skeletons as sculptures. It was kind of just a PowerPoint presentation. We've been doing a lot of that lately, where we've been taking the cheaper plastic skeletons from Skeleton Store and putting 2-part foam in them and posing them, and then blending them into stone so that they've been chiseled out.
A lot of work with a heat gun to bend the finger, stuff so they don't just stay that rigid the way they come. You can get them to hold things, and like if they're holding a book, to actually flatten out their hands so the book sits on it. That kind of stuff. We talked about how to take your skeletons to the next level, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I made pumpkin crows last year, and I just hit the heat gun on the fingers, and you just bend the joints, and you can at least get the fingers into a more realistic position. So it doesn't take a lot to make it look a hell of a lot better than it did out of the box.
Right, so it doesn't look like everybody else. Not that there's anything wrong with looking like everybody else, but to give it that difference.
Yes, it does. Yes, it's wrong. It's wrong. Don't tell them it's not wrong. We
just think go that little extra mile. Just you can do so much with bending. We do a lot of heat gun work, and then as soon as you get it in the right spot, you tape it up and throw it in the freezer. So our freezer in the shop is pretty much not food safe anymore. It's had too much plastic in it. Yeah. But that way you get them to them to set up faster so they don't bend back out. At least so far that's what we're doing. And using the 2-part expanding foam, we've got one of our crew people that's really his. Everybody's got their thing they do. Or at least something passionate about.
So what are you doing with the two? Hold on. What are you doing with the 2-part expanding foam?
So like where the joints are, like the knee joints and the elbow joints. We'll dam it up with some gaffer's tape or masking tape, and then pour 2-part foam all around that joint, and then use a Dremel and kind of Dremel it all away, except for where it kind of joins the elbow or knee together. And that keeps it firmly in position so that it's not wiggling and moving around, and it gives it structure. So if you're dealing with like a standing skeleton, it kind of puts him in the position that you finally want him in, and it looks more like he was carved out of stone instead of just a skeleton stuck on a stand.
All right. So now, where are you getting the 2-part foam? Where does that come from?
We just use Smooth-Ons, foam at 5 or foam at 10. We have a company. I don't know that it's available across the country, but there's a West Coast company called Tap Plastics.
Yeah, probably anybody that sells resin and fiberglass working materials would in your area would probably
it's
carry
the same kind of 2-part foam, 2-part AB foam that they use for like marine stuff, for like filling the insides of boat hulls.
Almost like great stuff.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. It's the foam and it expands up. You pour a little, you mix it up, you pour it in, and it just fills the entire gap.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I have used
it creates this blob around the knee, and then you just take the Dremel tool with the sanding bit and sand it all away, except for the parts that all fill inside the knee, and that makes it all solid.
Oh.
Yeah, we do that when we're creating statues, like even our projected singing ghost. We realized when we had her up there that, like on a real statue, she had a cowl on, but you could see behind her all the way like that. And a statue wouldn't have been carved that way. It would have been flat. So we kind of fill in places and Dremel them out. So you get that more stone statue card looking look than rather just set up prop. Like it just was one of those things we started to look at our props and go, wow, that looks like we monster mudded a head. So we kind of now gone that extra step to make it look like it actually was carved out of foam.
We're not even 5 minutes in, and all of the juicy prop building material, all the details from the Davis Graveyard just pouring out. Wow!
Hey, we like to share.
Yeah, we always do.
One of these days we'll do videos, but don't hold your breath. We joke that we swear like sailors, and there's just no way YouTube.
We never have a hand free to. We guess we set one up like a GoPro.
It just takes too much damn time out of your schedule to do it. I completely get it. That's why I don't do anything either anymore. It's just I look at how much time it's going to take me to. Now I'll just kind of take pictures along the way.
That's what we do.
But I don't like shooting video and having to try to explain every single thing and whatever. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it is really a time thing, like for us, because it really is. There's a group of us, but we all work, so it's only our weekend. So we're pretty particular about what happens, and we have a little schedule. We say we're going to do this today and that today, and if we had to like add filming to it, we don't think we'd get done. We're just too lazy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. No, I get it. Hey, Jeff, stop answering emails.
Sorry.
Are you sending out tweets?
So what I was trying to do was pull up. I can't do it from Chris's computer, but I was trying to pull up your video submission from the Haunters DVDs this year.
Why?
Well, I was going to comment about it, but I can't find it.
It was great, Chris. Everybody's great. We love watching those and seeing what people do. We have to watch them several times because I have to. Obviously, if you've got a copy of the DVD, I didn't proof them well enough because disc 5 had to be burned again. But we do have to watch them at least 3 or 4 times all the way through, beginning to end, just to make sure they play.
We're very familiar with everybody's videos after we've seen them a bunch of times.
Yeah. Now, how many submissions do you guys get this year?
I think there were 73 total. Probably about 70 different haunts. Some people had 2 different videos.
Mm-hmm.
How does that compare to past years? That's
pretty average. I think the most we've ever had is 110.
That was probably 5 years ago.
A little over 100, but that's like 5 or 6 years ago. We haven't had anything close to that. So somewhere between 70 and 80 is a pretty normal number for haunts. A lot of it is the same people every year, so they just automatically just send their videos back in again. Like us and you and Chris Ainsworth, Thornhill, and
Hector Turner.
Hector. And
the people that you look at and go, wow.
Dark Rose Manor and Casa Fear. I mean, those folks have been doing that for years. They just always just submit the video over again. So.
Yeah, we kind of like keeping it going just for we tell it's the one thing it's great to have all the YouTube stuff, but if let's say you want to share something with somebody who really doesn't kind of understand, or it's a good to hand them a DVD of, well, here's a bunch of home haunters. We want to look at, the range. And truly, the neat thing about the DVD collection is it truly is from beginners to people that, like us that have been doing it. I don't say we're good at it, but we've been doing it for a really long time. So you can kind of watch. It's funny, I've been watching them for years to watch the progression of people.
I got to say, that's one thing about the videos now, is that people have got pretty good. I mean, everybody's kind of up to the game.
Yeah.
Meaning that everybody was kind of pretty shit before, but everybody's gotten really good now. No.
There's more and more. I mean, there used to be like 1 or 2 gems. We used to always talk about pumpkin rot and, one other one that maybe was really good, but most of them were all kind of about the same. And now there's a lot of gems. I mean, in every other video you watch, you're like, wow, that was pretty cool.
I think it's the more sharing, like there's Facebook groups and, we talked about this, that when we did this back in the very first, we picked it up from Prop Master, there wasn't that much internet stuff comparatively. Now you can see what an influence the online stuff has had and the availability of props and stuff for people.
Well, and almost everybody posts their stuff on YouTube now, so everybody's watching everybody's videos on YouTube anyway.
It's making a big difference.
Because it is in a couple of centralized areas, and then anybody who has it on YouTube is sharing it on Facebook, so you don't have to go to a specific forum to find somebody's video anymore. It's kind of where everybody already is, so there's a lot more exposure. Yeah, I think it's what you were trying to say. Is that what you were trying
to say? I agree. Exactly.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
That's fine, honey.
No, but I was just looking at your website, and I clicked on the links just to see what was on the links page, and I saw some of your inspirations or favorite links and whatnot, and they had Terror Syndicate, and then Devious Concoctions and Pumpkin Rot, and when I got into this, they were, like if you were talking about gems, they were, between yours, theirs, then it was like also Skull and Bone.
Right. Rose Manor.
And Hallowed Haunting Grounds. A couple that are no longer with us.
Sadly.
Let's take a moment of silence, please.
Yeah, I know.
But they are, but they were a few people that really, or a few haunts that really stood out. And now these new kids don't even know who they are. They don't even respect their elders. These
No
new kids
respect for
coming
the
in.
history.
They'll come in. They don't know what the hell's going on. They don't know where they came from.
And get off my lawn.
And get off my goddamn
All their
lawn,
video projections and their prop controllers and their Arduinos.
Yeah, but it's I just look at that and I'm like, holy shit! That it does feel, even though if you look at it, maybe 7-8 years, but it does feel like a long time. Like a lot's happened in those 7 to 8 years.
Yeah, a lot has.
And it's good. I'm happy about it. I think that I don't know if the audience has gotten bigger, but at least we've talked to each other more, which I really appreciate. We're quite a
there's some people that we never meet in person that we just have met. I mean, it used to be you'd met them on the forums, but now you chat on Facebook, you share pictures,
You're still on the forums.
You see information. Well, at Facebook, you see posts about people's lives and what they did last weekend, what they had at the restaurant they ate at. And on the forums, it was just about Halloween prop making. You were just asking questions about your Halloween stuff.
It had to be. So it had to be very haunt or Halloween specific. We're gonna rewind for a second. Back at Transworld, the real reason that you two actually went out there was because you received a major award from the Haunted Attraction Association, correct?
Yeah.
So
was the first.
What happened? What was all that? They gave you the nod. They gave you the heads up. Hey, by the way, you need to be here because we're giving
exactly what our friends started calling us on the phone and said, "Are you coming to Transfer?" We're like, "Oh, I don't really think so." And they're like, "Yeah, I think you really need to come to this one."
And we thought that was really strange because we don't normally go because most of the stuff at Transworld is too expensive to buy. And you can find most of those people's catalogs and everything are online, so we don't need to be in St.
But it'd be
Louis.
Nice to visit the people. It's just been kind of an expensive
it's kind of an expensive visit. So, but they were like, no. And then the Haunted Attraction Association got a hold of us and said, "You've been nominated as our first home haunter recipient, but we only do this if the people can be present. Otherwise, we'll present it to somebody else." So we had to commit to be able to go out there and pick it up and accept it in person. So we said, all right, we'll do that. It'll be a good opportunity to
go
visit with all our friends at the same time and check out Transworld.
Yeah, I would have been like, well, who's second up? Like, who's in second place? Oh, damn it! No, I gotta be there. I'm not letting that son of a bitch take my glory. Holy shit, I'm gonna be there. It crossed
my mind first, it did, but we didn't ask. We just kind of rallied up and.
It was a very surreal experience because it was also a Lifetime Achievement Award was presented to Sidney Neal for Rocky Point.
Yeah.
And 10 years ago, in 2006, we were at Hauntx. And I think it was like their second to last convention they were doing that Will Shock puts on in L.A. or put on in L.A. It used to be called Death Fest. They were giving an achievement award to Sidney Neal then. And so we won a second place Home Haunters Award for the DVD collection that we submitted a video for. So we came in second place in the...
Behind DC Props.
DC Props.
But there's a good people to be second.
We were runner-up to the best home haunt. And so we were up there with her in 2006. And we had we already been to her haunt?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We'd already been to her haunt. We went to HauntCon that year, and we were just attendees then, and we paid to go to the extra... The pre-show tour, which was Rocky Point and several other places. It was in Denver, but they went out to Rocky Point, flew out there to stay the night and came back. And we got to meet her and get a tour of her place and have dinner there. It was really cool. And then we did this award thing in LA.
She was there. Yeah.
And she was there. She goes, I remember you guys because one of the things Chris does whenever we go on a haunt tour,
I'm old-fashioned this way.
she sends letters to the haunt owner from the Davis Graveyard, and it's signed by Jeff and Chris Davis, thanking them for letting us tour their haunt. So we always get these calls or letters or emails from people saying, thanks for giving us a letter. And she remembered the letter that Chris had given her. And so it was really fun meeting her for the first time. And then this year we go back and she's got the same award again from the Haunted Attraction Association. And we're standing next to her and goes, wow, it's been 10 years since we've been together. And now we're doing this all over again. It was, of course, the other thing that happened was that every single one of the major haunt owners and vendors that were influenced by her stood on stage and gave their little speech on how she influenced them, how her haunt influenced them, what the relationship, how it grew, and it was a real moving kind of experience. And then Chris and I got up there to receive our little award with all these other professional haunts and these new up and coming vendors. We felt very small.
No, you guys are a big deal. Don't let anybody tell you different. You're a big deal. But is Sydney consulting, or is she doing something in the haunt industry now, or is she still out?
She's consulting. In fact, I'd heard, didn't she, a few years ago, she consulted on the Haunted Mansion, some of the Haunted Mansion design in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm. And I think she's doing some other stuff. She's definitely, I wouldn't call her secretive, but private's probably the right way with her. She doesn't usually broadcast all the stuff she's doing.
She's not doing the haunted attraction, haunted house thing anymore, but she does do consulting. She's done some consulting work with Disney, and I think Disney, one of their parks, not the U.S. based park, but one of the other parks, is doing or maybe it's Florida. They're going to do the equivalent of not Scary Farm or Universal's.
Scary. Not scary. What's the Halloween thing called?
Yeah, they're haunt where they during October where they turn the park into like a scary thing. Disney's thinking about doing a similar kind of thing, and she was going to help them design that walk-through maze kind of scary.
Oh, so instead of doing the not so scary Halloween party, or they're probably still going to do that. They're going to do something else at one of the other parks,
I don't know. We probably are saying.
I read a post about it on Facebook, so I know it's publicly out there.
Maybe at Hollywood Studios, they definitely need to fill the void now that they've torn down half the park. Yeah. So they probably they're waiting for Star Wars and Toy Story Land to open up. Maybe they're planning on doing something there to fill that void that would be pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, whatever they're doing, she's involved in consulting with it, so that's kind of what she's doing right now.
Well, that's good. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it will be.
Keep us abreast.
I will if I know anything.
Okay, let's talk about Davis Graveyard for a bit, considering that's who you guys kind of are. You are the Davis Graveyard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's us.
All right, great.
I'm taking a drink-making break, so talk to Jeff.
All right, so basically you've got workshops coming up.
Yes, that's true.
So you've got a couple going on over the summer. Mm-hmm. You do your standard Tombstone workshop class. Now, are you guys doing anything different for your Tombstones? Are you guys doing the same process? Has anything changed over the years?
No, we've tried all kinds of things, but it still just comes down to computer-generated epitaphs taped to a piece of styrofoam and then hand-carved out with an X-Acto knife.
Yeah.
We've got a few molds that we've made over the years of accents, some half skulls and some little decorative fleurs, things we found and we've made molds of. That we put expanding foam in those, and then we'll glue those to the front of the tombstone if it needs it. And we get a little creative with the bases, but basically it's your 2-inch white styrofoam tombstone that pretty much has basically stayed the same all these years. Even the backs that we do in them, the PVC pipe glued in with the expanding foam. In the back.
Now you are for the white foam gluing something to the back, like plywood or something, Luan?
Yeah, I have a little blade that I made for the hot knife that's got like a loop in it, like a little circle loop and that'll draw. We use that to draw out a tube out of the back of the tombstone with a hot knife, and then we slide in a half-inch piece of PVC pipe that's like 18 inches long, two of them, exactly 12 inches apart from each other. And then we fill the void with expanding foam and then sand it out so that it looks like they were embedded. Those PVC pipes were embedded in the back of the tombstone.
Yeah.
Then we just use rebar, 3/8-inch rebar to slide them onto the, to stand them up in the yard. We use 3-foot rebar, and we knock it down 18-inch.
Yeah,
and we have a custom-made steel pipe.
Aluminum now.
There's steel. Aluminum didn't survive. We use little 5-pound handheld sledgehammers, and we sledge the rebar into the ground, sticking up 18 inches, and then we slide the tombstones. The nice thing about that is that they all have the same backs. They're all the same size.
Even most of the monuments.
So we can lay them out in the yard, and then if Chris doesn't like...
When does she ever?
She doesn't like, one epitaph next to another epitaph. We can pick them up and move them around because they all fit on the same size rebar.
It's called musical tombstones. I stand across the street with my megaphone.
Yeah, it's always a fun part of
and direct. Yeah, the neighbors must love that.
So she just lays out where we want them to go, and then we pound the rebar in, and then we slide tombstones on, and then she just kind of shuffles them around until she gets them over.
Now, if there's anything you guys should make and market, that tool that you guys make puts the rebar in. That's something that you
could.
See, I'm a thinker.
Thanks, Baker.
I'm a thinker, you know?
I appreciate it.
But a lot of times...
royalty check is in the mail.
But a lot of times I try to think and nothing happens, as Johnny Thunder always says.
By the way, it was nice meeting Johnny at Transworld, too.
Yeah.
Was it?
It was
yes,
nice.
Was it?
Yes.
It was nice. He was behaving himself that night. While you and Chris were talking, I sat and chatted with him for a little while.
And Chris and I weren't.
I think he was keeping an eye on you, is what he was doing.
Strangely, the only reason I went to Transworld this year was just to go hang out with him. Go figure. Go figure.
Well, thanks for putting up with us for a bit.
That was fun. Good time.
You should have bought me more drinks, though. That's all.
All
right, so those are a couple of little prop building tips he gave us for the tombstones, which is always good. Outside of that, I noticed you had quite a few other new props, or I mean, not exactly new to 2015, but stuff that I've seen that you've added over the last couple of years. You have a couple of statues, and you had the Kiss of Death, which I think was new to this year, was it not?
Yeah, it was new this year. Yeah,
all right,
it won an award.
Oh, yeah, we got the Instructables for that, and got somebody's prop award. Who else? Can't remember Sorry, I should remember this. I'm such a bad person. I apologize to whoever you are that gave us the award, and I can't remember you.
Sure.
But we got a lot of.
I'm not editing that part out. Don't make me do work.
Thank you. That's all right.
Don't make me do work.
It was really funny because we won a pneumatics prize.
Yeah.
And they emailed us and said, looking forward to what the Davis Graveyard's going to do with pneumatics. And I'm like, I'm actually donating them to West Coast Haunters auction.
I think actually that was just like an overall haunt award. It wasn't for a specific prop.
Okay.
They just awarded it to the Davis Graveyard. It was. So
we help raise money for charity.
Talk about the build of the prop. If you can give us
Kiss of Death. What we've kind of done over the years, what's kind of happened with our prop making is we used to do a lot of stuff, tons of tombstones and kind of an overall theming, add more to the graveyard. But we've kind of backed up a little and we concentrated on just like one or two really nicely detailed pieces, and we're trying to create them more of almost like an art piece than just another prop in the yard. So Kiss of Death is a good example.
Yeah, something that looks good from every angle that you really could stand all by itself.
It's based on a real statue that really exists. We had a lot of reference photos that we could use when we built it. And it was the best example. There's a crew of us, Chris and I and 7 other people volunteered to kind of work on this on the weekends in the summertime. And everybody was involved in this particular piece. It's basically a skeleton on top of a wood-covered foam stand with styrofoam wings and a foam body that we originally were thinking about mannequin. We thought about carving one out of solid foam ourselves.
Well, that particular prop we had on our shop list for years.
Yeah.
But we kept looking at the male body form on it, and none of us are that good of sculptors. We all went, that's just not going to happen. So it always got pushed off to the side, and I don't know who in our crew, I think it might have been Dawn, somebody brilliantly said, well, why don't we just make it a woman? And I went, well, we can get one of those.
So a female woman is more curvy, and it's not so, like with a male prop, you've got all that anatomy, the muscle contours that are so hard to try to.
You got a card.
The six pack, and the pecs, and the biceps, and it's just really hard to get all that muscle because most body forms that you buy today are very plain looking because you're just going to put clothes on them. It's a zombie.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we would have had to have figured out a way to make it look more muscular. Well, with the woman, it's just more curvy, and she's got the bust line and the hips and the waist. And we were able to just put a drape over her and make that piece look really, really good. And that made the big difference, and that's how we decided to make the whole thing. It's a 1x3 frame with a piece of half-inch plywood, and then the whole thing's coated in white foam for the bottom piece and pink foam for the top piece, and they're just two-part stands that are separate. The body form comes from
Michael
at Ghost Ride Productions. One of the things he's done for us over the years, we've not been really good at figuring out how to carve our own or cast our own arms. So he sells latex rubber arms, but we can't do latex rubber in the yard because it won't last over the season. It'll start deteriorating.
Right, with the weather and stuff.
So I said, well, if you've got a mold and you're making those things, could you pour expanding foam in them? Because I know you use expanding foam for some of your other products. Could you pour expanding foam? Don't paint them and just ship them to me.
Yeah, don't need to be clean.
Even with the trim edges on them and everything, just pop out of the mold, throw them in a box, and mail them to me. He's in Washington, so he's not that far away. And so for a little less money, we can get them out of expanding foam from him. So I said, well, can I get a body form that way? And he said, yeah, but it'll be a little rough. And they said, that's fine because we're going to have to break it up and bend it and carve it and create new joints for it and everything anyway.
I remember him calling us when he did. He goes, it came out of the mold in pieces.
It broke like one of the legs broke and one of the arms broke.
We said I said,
just stick it in a box and send it to us. We're going to end up repositioning it all anyway. And one of our crew members is really an attention to detail when it comes to body anatomy. So he sat there with a couple of our crew people that were squatting in the position, and he was looking at their knees and their butt and their legs and their feet and arms, and he was taping up the joints and then adding expanding foam and then sanding it out until it fit the way he wanted to. And then the head is an expanding foam head from Ghost Ride does latex rubber heads. And we said, could you just cast one of those for us? And then Chris got a wig online,
a nicer
Amazon,
quality wig, I would say.
Really inexpensive, and did it all in monster mud. And then the wings were done all hand carved out of styrofoam. And then the skeleton was a positioned skeleton that we spent all our time kind of getting the way we want with that expanding foam stuff that we were talking about earlier. And then, of course, Chris detail painted it all and
did the monster mudding of the fabric.
And monster mudded it. And
used a particular type of fabric. I'm never going to remember it again. Something really sheer and really thin, so it drapes really well. It like clung to the body form. It's basically like a death shroud that she's wearing, and I put a little bit over the skeleton. Basically, the reason the skeleton got any kind of fabric was to hide whatever we needed to not be able to see. You didn't want to see a joint here or the way you attach something there. So that's when I go to drape the fabric there. And we always build everything to come apart. So like the body form and the tips of the wings have little 1/2-inch PVC pipes in them. And then they set into a hole that we drilled. So we call those, what is it called? Battle stance. That's
battle stance, like in G.I. Joe.
Battle stance, nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then so the wings come off, the female body and the skeleton come off, and then the stand comes apart in two parts.
Well, it's for storage. We do that because it's just, otherwise that prop is way too big. So we have to do that kind of stuff for storage.
I get it. I hear you, sister. Preaching to the choir, I understand how that is. Of course, I don't make anything that comes apart. Everything just, I had to put out one of those portable garages in my yard because I had nowhere else to put this shit, and was getting out.
We have a storage shed now, or a storage space we re-rent now, so we hear you.
Besides the Kiss of Death, there was a few other new statues that you made, and I would assume that they're pretty much the same deal. There was one like a timekeeper or whatever you call
Or
it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, time was that was our first example of posing a skeleton.
Yeah.
Where we really took the time to make sure he was sitting just the right way and his hand held the hourglass correctly. We've taught that as a mini class before to people, making a smaller version of it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of teach them how to get a skeleton the way you want it to be. And so it looks more natural.
And experimenting with like cotton sheets with monster mud and making it look like stone.
So
Morning Angel one's the same kind of way.
yeah.
With the big wing. She's definitely one where we learned when we bought the arms. We bought the arms and they're straight out, like basically like she's flying like Superman. And we have to cut like on the wrist and even the fingers and stuff to get her to pose the right way. So she looks
Weeping Angel.
The Weeping Angel, yeah. So that's another one where it looks like pretty simple, but it takes a while to get those arms the way you need them to be.
Getting back to also something you said earlier, Jeff, is that you're talking about making like these art pieces. I'm big on that if you can create 1 or 2 signature pieces for your yard or haunt a year, it makes because most people, I don't know how many times you've had people come by and go, oh, that's new this year. And you're like, no, I've had that up for 5 years. But, but whatever, if it's new to you, great. I don't care. I've been doing a lot more extra work this year than I needed to do. If you thought that was new, then I didn't have to do all this extra shit this year because you thought I had new stuff there. But yeah, I try to do the same thing where if I can get like 1 or 2 signature pieces, or at least even one really cool signature piece that you made, and yeah, it makes all the difference. Makes all the difference. You don't need to go in and try to create like 20 average or mediocre things. You can just spend your time creating 1 or 2 really kick-ass things. And, I think also a lot of people are trying to catch up to the other people who've been doing it for a while. I'm at this point right now, I'm like, I don't even give a shit, I don't care about winning awards anymore. I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to do my thing. I'll put in the time I can this year, whatever I can get done this year. And if I don't get anything else done, it doesn't matter because it's only me who notices and nobody else cares because everybody else in my area just is freaking happy to get whatever I put out there, which is more than any sane person would put out there.
Exactly. Yeah, ours become more now of like a challenge with the crew. I think it's more for us at this point. Somebody goes, I want to make this. And so it doesn't fit in the yard, yes. Then it gets made, but it's really kind of a challenge to get a prop done. Like a couple people will champion something, and that's kind of more where we're at this point. We always replace about 10 to 12 tombstones, and I just do that because some of the stuff cycles out, and because it's one of those things where I would love my cemetery to look like a real one and not have all these funny epitaphs, but I cannot tell you how many people walk my yard every year reading epitaphs and know the new ones or looking for this. I mean, it's part of the yard that's kind of gotten bigger than us, It's something people look forward to. So those always get made, and then that's kind of like the stuff we have to do, and then the rest of the props are more of, what do we want to do this year? What's our challenge for this year?
Yeah. Well, I have noticed one thing, that you've started to work in some names of some dearly departed actors, and I'm like, I've seen that around somewhere. I don't know where I've seen that before, but that rocks. You guys kick ass. No,
we're a bunch of geeks over here, so.
Well, that's it. We used to do the funny ones, and then we started losing some important people that we wanted to honor. So we started doing, the famous people or the characters on shows that have died off, or
we did our Dobby, the house elf tombstone, which has actually a friend of ours actually knitted a sock for us specifically for that tombstone to lay over the top of it. Surprised how popular.
Oh my God, the kids love that.
Okay, now I didn't get the reference. What is that?
From Harry Potter.
From Harry Potter.
Okay, all right, sorry.
So Dobby the house elf in Harry Potter dies in one of the books.
If you haven't seen them all, spoiler.
Okay. After he becomes a free elf, and you get to be a free elf when you give them clothes, and they gave him a sock, and that's how he became a free elf.
Got it.
The kids who read the books just love that tombstone.
Well, that's great because that is a little Easter egg for people.
Mm-hmm.
It is always cool to give something to somebody, something that someone wouldn't expect when they get it. And then it's like, oh my God, because who the hell else would do that, right? Who else would give them that?
Exactly. That's kind of why we do the tombstones every year. Now, more than looking for the normal funny ones, now it's usually based on something that's either happened or somebody that's died.
We had a tombstone that was Penny from Dr. Horrible, because she dies in the Dr. Horrible show. She's played by Felicia Day, and we went and met Felicia Day and brought the tombstone to have a book signed by her. And she signed the tombstone. So now we're like, oh, now we can't put it in the yard because we don't want anything to happen to it because it has her signature on it. So now we have to take it out of the yard and keep it somewhere.
Yeah, now it's permanently on display. So we had to make the Charlie tombstone from Supernatural. Another spoiler if you haven't watched the show. She dies in that show. So
but, there's
now you ruined it for me.
A lot of people die in that show.
Chris, I'm very proud of you, by the way. You know why I'm proud of you?
Why?
Because I saw that you had a spider prop in your haunt somewhere.
That is big ass spider too.
A big
The
ass
only
spider.
one we have, though.
Yeah, he's the only one.
'Cause I know you have arachnophobia, so.
Yeah, no, the crew. People ask me what's the scariest thing in the yard, and I go, that freaking huge damn spider over there.
Now you guys obviously created that as well, so.
Yeah, that was styrofoam body, and then the arms and stuff are metal.
It's like a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch steel rod.
That's all bent. And they bent them specifically.
Bent to make it look like a leg. And then we used something called friendly plastic. It's like it comes in little beads, a bag, and then you pour it into boiling hot water, and it melts into like a moldable plastic. And then we basically squeezed it out over this rod and then shaped the leg and created the knuckles, and it's very popular, like with the cosplay folks. They'll do like specialty pieces for their costume out of this friendly plastic stuff. And it's pretty moldable for a good half hour or so before.
When we say we here, we're meaning like us and several other people, because I don't think Jeff and I had anything to do with those legs.
Yeah, we just got to watch them get built.
Yeah, so basically,
remember that when we're talking we. Jeff and I don't build this all ourselves.
got it. It was so basically it's like beads of this plastic in a bag, and when you boil the bag,
you pour them out of the bag into the water.
Oh,
They have a special crock pot in the shop. It's just for that.
Yeah, and you pour it into like really hot water, and then those beads all kind of come together and do like a big blob.
Like a big ball of putty. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then so you need to use gloves, obviously, to take it out and then to spread it on. Okay.
And a special like cutting board she uses to roll.
If you Google friendly plastic, you can see videos about how it works and all the different uses for it. And that's what the legs were made out of, so that we could make them durable. And then I think they have little magnets that attach onto the body for them. We drilled holes, put magnets inside the little tubes so that the legs kind of just click into place.
It can be removed. We'd like I said for storage to keep it from getting hurt.
Yeah, so the body's all one piece. That's just was made out of foam, and then the legs are separate.
There's a lot of magnets in the Davis graveyard. We have one crew member we always joke about that magnets are his answer to everything.
A lot of the trim pieces for the abbey and extra components and stuff that go in the yard, even the cemetery sign across the top of our fence, is all held on with like rare earth magnets out of hard drives.
Yeah. So if somebody's got old computer parts, you want a hard drive.
Yeah, we scrap them out, and then we just use those magnet pieces and embed them into foam, and
then it attaches everything.
Attach them right on there.
I have a question about your gate. Is that PVC or is that metal?
It's metal.
It is metal.
That's part of the house.
Yeah, one of the other connections we have is I have a really good friend who runs a pretty good sized metal shop, and we just horse trade for things, and he built that for me. It sets inside of our existing fence, so we pull it off. But the arch piece is all like 1 inch square tubing, I think. And it comes apart in the middle, so it's got two pieces that slide together like an accordion.
Right.
Okay, so it does attach, and you can take it off, you store it away, and you bring it back.
And then the letters are just laser cut letters out of 1/8 inch steel that they're untreated, so they're all rusty. And then we just put them on with magnets.
We got really crazy this year. For a long time, we've had like speakers attached to whatever the finials were on the gates or on the hole down the line. And this year, Jeff, I said, if you can make this work and it doesn't hurt our property, you can do it. But what did you do? You had all of the finials.
So all of the tops of all of our fence posts, the real red brick fence posts that we have these metal finials that sit on top, and they were all welded on. And so whenever they built this fence, which is way before, we've been here for almost 26 years. It has a metal pole somewhere inside of it. This thing's welded onto it. And Chris said, well, I would like to do urns on top of all the fence pieces, but there's no way we can get an urn with this metal thing here. We used to just stick spikes in those metal finials and stick skulls on top of them. And Chris wanted to do urns. Then we were going to put the speakers inside of all the urns. So I talked to the metal welding friend of mine, and he said, well, if you can cut them off, I'll weld a plate to the bottom of them with a threaded screw, and then you can screw them on and screw them off. So that's what I did. I cut them all off. He welded them all up for me, and then we took them away, put the urns up for Halloween. When Halloween was over, I bolted them all back on. And now they're replaceable. We can take them on and off. So now we have these big fancy urns that have speakers inside.
You know what? It's good to have friends, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
I keep saying I need to get me some.
It's all about the connections. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of something we've always talked about in David's Graveyard. You just kind of got to keep reaching out to people and find people that can do basic horse training. We do a lot of, if I'll do this for you.
Sometimes it's just, you want to come to my Halloween party. The guy that does the metal stuff, him and his wife love coming to the Halloween party. They just have a great time. They dress up. Mm-hmm. Our Halloween party's got about 75 people. It's a big drinking fest, and it's a lot of fun. Everybody loves coming to that thing because they can be there at the graveyard and they hang out. So he says, well, I'll weld up some stuff for you this year if you need me to. And I say, well, then come to the party. Have a good time. That's
great. Yeah, if you can get his help just by having him come to your party, what a bonus that is, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what about projection effects or other things that you guys have going on? Anything new that you've been doing? I mean, back when I first interviewed you guys, you had a mausoleum and you had like the kind of woman ghostly figure moving around in there. Did you change that up? Do you have anything different going on for that?
It's kind of the same thing. We have a new mausoleum, probably a third generation since the last time we talked.
How about like fifth generation? Well, maybe only third.
Third generation, I think.
Yeah.
One of the things we've gotten into lately, back to the props that are more art-based, is we've moved away from making things out of wooden panels and then coating them in foam, and now we're just making more. We found a connection for somebody who provides foam at any thickness. Mm-hmm. So we built, I think if you look at one of our recent photos, you'll see a dome-shaped, kind of like eternal flame monument. That was all done out of like 6 and 8 inch thick white foam. And then we decided to make a mausoleum out of 10-inch foam, thick walls of foam. And we did the same thing, cut a big hole in the back, put a screen up, we projected inside, so it's the same
but
effect.
But it goes up in about a half an hour as opposed to like 4 hours.
It's not like multi-panel, screwed together with a bunch of brackets.
Nobody remembers how it went together last year.
Trying to remember how it goes together last year. You just snap all the walls together and you're done. It does take up more room.
Is that the piece that has? It looks like it's about 5 or 6 kind of columns, and it has like
that's Eternal Flame.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the Eternal Flame. That was our first experiment
with solid foam
pieces, figuring out how we could make something all out of solid foam. And once we were able to do that piece, we said, well, anything large we want to do, we should just do it out of solid foam. It will be so much easier to paint and texture. It just takes up more room.
Where do you get that?
We have a company. Anybody who sells architectural polystyrene foam. So, and in every state, there's or region, there's somebody that provides that stuff, trim and columns, and they get it in big square blocks, and then they have these big hot wire machines that will slice it off. So we get our 2-inch foam from them for tombstones. We can get them to shave it down to 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch foam.
All of our trim and molding.
All our trim and molding, and then we get them to give us 6 and 8 inch pieces. We get them to make us columns.
So you just want to look up architectural foam.
EPS foam. We've been traveling across the South lately for HauntCon, and I found people in Houston that do it, people in Louisiana that do it, people in Colorado that do it. So everybody's got a regional foam architectural foam people that they get these big blocks and they have to carve it up for trim pieces for like commercial buildings design and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll save you some time and effort, and
it's really not that expensive.
If you people are used to doing the whole, we got tired of the Home Depot white foam with the skin on it. So then you got to peel the skin off, and the new Home Depot foam, at least in our area, it's got a silver backing on it. If you peel that off, you end up with the little silver flakes.
So you have to heat gun it
and then pull it off slowly. So just to prepare a 2-inch sheet, it takes a bunch of time. And those 2-inch sheets at Home Depot are like $25, and at this place they'll cut it and give it to us for $16 a sheet. So it's significantly cheaper, and it doesn't have any film on it. It's
ready to go.
Ready to go when you get it. So
and actually, we've convinced them to cut it into tombstone shapes for us before.
Yeah, now we just get them to cut them into 2-foot by 4-foot pieces. It's just easier.
Yeah, for some people, we have limited time, and we need to cut that shit out. Keep it to the minimum. Yeah,
Yep.
No, good for you. I'm going to have to look that up and see if there's anybody in Massachusetts that does that.
I check.
It's got to be somebody around.
That's got to be
It's got to be. I'm on the search right now.
Okay, good.
All right, I gotta go. Take care, guys. All right.
So projections, I don't think we've done. We just keep doing them. We haven't really.
Yeah, we haven't done any new ones.
We've changed all of our projectors on.
We have threatened over the last 3 or 4 years to put one in. Since we've built the Abbey in the driveway, it's kind of a big open building. It has an open roof. It's a nice big back wall. It's really cool looking window. But it doesn't have anything inside of it. It's just kind of a big open space. Everybody loves to walk through it if we do an open house or at the party, but it's just something to see from the street. And we keep thinking we need to do like dancing ghosts inside of it, do a scrim down the middle of it, and then just do a projection inside. But every time we think about doing that, we end up getting caught up in all our other projects, and it's one of those ones that just keeps getting pushed to the side, and then no one takes the time to film it.
Yeah, speaking of the Abbey, didn't you redo the entire Abbey last year or the year before?
The Abbey was originally conceived as a 3-year project. Mm-hmm. We knew what we wanted, but we knew we couldn't get it done in a year. We also knew we couldn't afford to do it in a year. So we built the frame and the outside panels the first year. And it looked good enough that you could, it was a great prop. It looked really good that first year. But if you looked at the right angles, you could see that the inside
was all framed.
Was wood exposed and was painted black, but we didn't have interior panels. So the second year we added all the interior panels.
And redid the front entrance because we realized you couldn't see very much. So we pretty much tore the front apart.
And then we realized that you needed to be able to see the thickness of the walls. So we made all the windows thicker, and we added these extensions inside to make it look thicker. And then the inside arches, we had to add the thickness for those guys too. So it took us about 3 years, and then I think on the 4th year we did a little bit of tweaking. Chris didn't like some of the trim pieces, so we had to redo some of those.
Yeah. I'm picky that way.
But after 4 years of having it up, we finally have it the way we want it, and then
And this year, I think we were going to sell it and get rid of it. Now we've decided we're going to keep it one more year because we want to sell it to somebody. The way the insert trim pieces work, between the two panels, is really difficult, but it works. But it
takes a team of 4 or 5 people all day just to remember how to reassemble it all.
So we're going to try to do with more of that solid foam is do pieces that kind of fit in rather than these thin pieces you have to bend and it takes forever to do that. So
because that whole Abbey's made out of 1-inch white foam.
Right.
So it's 1-inch white foam on a 1x3 wood frame glued on, and then we use 1-inch white foam. So if those panels are pushed apart like 8 inches, then we use an 8-inch piece of white foam to fill the center. So it looks like it's really like a 9-inch or 10-inch thick wall, but it's just 1 inch on each side with a little white 1-inch piece separating the gap, so it looks like it's filled in to be a full big wall. But that's a lot of pieces. That's a lot of framing. That's a lot of fudging and getting just right, and it's very meticulous, and it takes a long time to set up. We have to have a whole weekend just to do the Abbey before we can set up the yard.
What are the rough dimensions of the Abbey?
12 feet by 32 feet.
32
Yeah, so it's 3 panels, 3 4-foot panels wide at the front face, and it's 8 panel 4-foot panels deep, so that's 32 feet. So it's 12 feet by 32 feet.
3-story well.
And then it's 4 panels tall, so it's 2 8-foot panels, and then a 4-foot panel with a peak on it. So it's 20 feet tall, and after did we ever do the Abbey without using a lift?
No, we've learned we got a scissor lift.
So we ran a scissor lift from a local tool rental place, which is like 4 blocks from our house, and they drive it over and drop it off in our driveway in the morning on a weekend, and then we wheel it in and we put everything all up, and then we wheel it back out and they come get it. It costs us like $75, but it's worth it. Just to be safe and nobody falls.
Safe, and then we really have a lot of help of people wanting to help set up the Abbey because they want to play with the scissor lift. So it's like, my turn.
Drive around on the scissor lift, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I can't get that beep, beep, beep out of my head for days afterwards. Hearing that drive around. But yeah, it's pretty funny to watch them like lower it down to get it in between arches and stuff like that. It's entertaining.
We can set the whole bottom up and the framing up without it, and then we bring it in the second day to do all the top panels because we can't reach those without ladders. Or without it being too dangerous.
Yeah.
But we have a long-term goal. After this year, we can get it to a place where we think it'd be easy to reassemble and somebody want to buy it. We want to build a new Abbey all out of 10-inch thick styrofoam.
Lego Abbey.
And we call it the Lego Abbey. We want to do it with like flying buttresses and really fancy trim pieces and...
have you done the math on this? What is it going to look like?
A 10-inch 4x8 piece of white polystyrene cost $50.
It's in the range of $4 to $6.
So you think $25 for a 2-inch. So it's cheaper, but it's still $50 a sheet, and there's 40 sheets involved. So that's just the foam. That's just $2,000 just for the foam.
And that's not including the trim foam, the other pieces of foam. It's
the paint.
Hours, the several bow cutters we're going to need to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's. We've talked to Hotwire about maybe sponsoring us to do it. We've if we sold the Abbey, we'd sell it for several $1,000s, so it would pay for those.
I got it. So you'll cover some of the expenses,
right? Yeah. Kind of what we do with our class. The only reason we really not the only reason we like sharing, but the reason we started doing classes and stuff like that is just to basically get us the money to buy supplies to build.
Yeah.
That's all it really is. We're not making it living.
We definitely operate in the red.
It's a slush fund.
It is the slush,
but
it helps pay for rum.
Yeah, it's a light pink red. More. We do the classes.
Blood red.
And by slush I mean alcohol.
Yes, it's the alcohol. How do you think I keep getting these people to keep showing up at my house?
keep them drunk.
I keep them drunk.
That's right. Keep on coming over and drinking more rum.
They'll keep thinking they're having fun.
It's true. They don't. If they have a really great evening, then they come back next morning because I had so much fun yesterday. It's working so far.
Yeah.
Are you guys still having fun after all these years?
We are.
Like we said before, our props are more challenges for us. That's really kind of where we are. We kind of we can buy books, on the internet, things we want to make. So it's like looking at what's the next thing we can build to challenge ourselves. So that's why we're still having fun with it. It's something else new. What can we create?
One cool signature piece that we can kind of spend all summer on instead of worrying about trying to do a bunch of work all summer.
Right. Yeah, we're definitely past that point where we need to fill the yard anymore now. Really, if we want to build a new prop, I have to sell. Like we had to sell Demon Angel. We've been in the yard forever and ever because we needed room. I'd like to rebuild it again in some form, but that prop leaving was kind of sad. It should have been in the yard forever, but I don't want to store anything I don't use. I'm definitely not nostalgic about stuff. Jeff will tell you that. I'm the least nostalgic about things.
Yeah, storage is a premium. You got to make sure it's only got full of stuff that you're going to actually use.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that's it. Once you're ready, you kind of know that you're done with it. It gets retired, sold off, and it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that goes to building the next prop, and that's kind of how we.
Yeah, it's kind of how we recycle and keep going.
Yeah, I'm really theme-oriented. We keep pulling things if we don't think it works with what we've got the yard to be. I think we sold a lot of our medieval torture things.
We got rid of the crow's cages and some of the corpseified skellies.
because it really just
trying to
didn't.
make it look more like a cemetery instead of a medieval torture town.
Yes, we just kind of we keep getting really focused on our theme. Like
That's why the
with
urns showed up.
Yeah.
Because you want to get rid of the skulls on this.
right, because the skulls on the spikes just really didn't. Why would that be in a cemetery? So that stuff had to kind of go. So that's kind of what we're always refining and trying to say what we need to remove to do something better the next year.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody in the yard's very precious about anything. If we don't think it works, nobody's feelings get hurt. If we say,
And we've done everything from donating to selling to just,
there are a couple haunted houses
horse
in town.
trading, whatever works out for everybody, as long as we make room for the next thing we're going to do.
That makes a lot of sense. You've got, you got to kind of freshen things up and, move some stuff out. I mean, you guys have been doing this for a long freaking time, so.
Yes, we have.
Yes. It's longer than some of the people that have been haunting have been alive, I've learned.
We're getting at the age where I'm running into people that have said that my parents brought me here and now I'm bringing my kids here.
Oh.
So you hear that a couple of times in the season, you're like, oh man, I really am old.
You old fucker, you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we're ruining the neighborhood.
Well, I have been told I'm bringing down the neighborhood, so, that's...
Oh, we all have.
Yeah, we all. Just one person.
The house across the street did sell this year, but at least they bought it in October, so they won't be surprised.
Yeah,
my neighbor right across the street, I don't have any problems with him. He was looking at the house in October, and I said to him when he was looking at the house, I said, "Hey, by the way, good thing you're buying the house in October because at least you know what you're getting into." And the guy bought the house.
Yeah.
And he bought it for a decent price. It didn't, I'm not bringing.
Same with ours. I think we're more than the selling price. So
yeah, nobody's losing money in the neighborhood. I mean, if anything, I add to the neighborhood. Damn it, that's what I tell everybody.
That's right. Bring more people into the neighborhood.
I add to the neighborhood.
we've joked about that actually our open house and stuff is considered a city event for Milwaukee. I mean, that's how long we've been doing this. Or we're considered an event to go to in the city.
And you'll be an historic event at one point.
Yeah, someday. We always joke if we ever sell this house, we're going to say, by the way, there's a bunch of props upstairs. You might want to put them out in October, just saying.
Or, otherwise, you have people standing out front wondering
or put up an egg shield in front of the house.
Exactly.
You don't want to know what'll happen to that.
Like one of those, like a hazmat shield, like an ET, like they cover the entire house.
Right, yes.
The whole house. Because you were going to get rained down upon.
You're going to, you won't be able to leave. You'll be killed. Yeah, I think us doing it as a community event has helped us quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because now we even have the support of the police department and city people.
Yeah. What's a community event? What are you doing?
So a long time ago, we used to, when we first had the display up, people would ask, "Can I come inside?" We'd always say no. And they said, "Well, I want to see how what it looks like from inside." And we're like, "No, it's from the street only. It's from the street only." And we decided that one day in the month of October, on a Sunday afternoon, we'd do an open house. We'd open up the gates and let people walk in, and they could look behind the scenes and see what it looks like behind, which I think looks terrible. But
they all want to see it.
They all want to see the black backs of the tombstones and where all the cables run. And then we would invite everybody that helped us hang out so that people could meet the people that helped set it up or that helped build something.
Mm-hmm.
And it became a community event. And now that we closed the street off, we usually get some sort of entertainer to show up and people come it's we're like 11 o'clock in the morning until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. The police department has their cadets use it for training for crowd control. And
cadets have to do so much volunteer hours anyway. And they said, well, I'd rather hang out at the graveyard for 4 or 5 hours than do traffic patrol or some of the other boring stuff that we have to do. So we always get a good group of cadets with the cars, and they block the streets off and keep the riffraff out, and everybody's well behaved. Everybody's well behaved. We get a couple of hearses that show up.
Mm-hmm. This year we're going to work with the.
Our local community. They call themselves the Public Safety Advisory Committee, PSAC. And so they're a group of people that are always worrying about public safety. They work with the police all the time. And they do these disaster preparedness events. It's that thing where you've seen before where where they'll do like some fake injuries, like a car accident or a train accident. They have all the people laying around, and then you got to like check them out and see what's going on. Well, they wanted to do a zombie apocalypse disaster preparedness event. And I said, well, you should do it at the graveyard at the open house. We usually have some zombies dressed up anyway, and you guys could come and we could have the little zombie invasion, and you guys could tell people about where to go to, where their local neighborhood centers are to stay safe. And
yeah, that's why, like, remember I told you the 2 committee meetings I had? One of them is tomorrow night with that group to talk about them coming in and being...
They're gonna take over our little open house event and make it a zombie apocalypse preparedness event. So that ought to be kind of fun. But they provide the insurance, the event insurance they provide, because it's the city event. So having people on the property, it's insured by the city, and they put us on the calendar and do a bunch of advertising for it. So it's worked out really well.
It's kind of how we talk to people that said they're having problems with people wanting to shut them down. It'd be really hard to want to shut down the Davis graveyard.
Yeah, we're such a part of the community.
Because people be like, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it's not being manipulated. We didn't do it on purpose that way, but it just kind of has grown into that kind of where we're bigger. Like I always say, the Davis graveyard is bigger than us now.
Yeah,
it's gotten bigger than us.
Definitely bigger than us. I'd say the 2 pieces of advice I give everybody that I see whenever we do classes across the country is get involved in your city, be their friend, not their enemy, and find volunteers and people that want to help you out.
Right. The more community involvement you get, the better.
Yeah. You can do horse trading with people, or you can get a few people that can show up and help you do this stuff so you're not doing it on your own, and you can get the city to be on your side, then everything else is easy.
Yeah, that is the number one tip that I need to take away from this interview is to get people involved in the haunt. That could be the number one thing I could try to take away from this.
Yeah, you do have to kind of vet the people that want to volunteer, but you'll get the person that wants to show up, or the people that just want to be part of the event.
Our little workshops ended up being the way to do that for us. So it's a great way to meet people that are interested. You could advertise a little workshop and say, we're going to build, whatever it is you want to do. We're going to make 10 of these things, whatever it happens to be. And then you get to meet these 10 people. And some of them will be, be people you wouldn't mind working with on a weekend. Some of them you don't ever want to have come back again. And that way you can kind of and then you can kind of stay in touch with those people throughout the year and go, hey, you want to come over this weekend? I'm going to be working on some other stuff if you enjoyed working with them. So we kind of vet them through the workshops that we do. And
now you've just given it away. Now people are going to...
It's good information.
It's true.
Good information.
Hey, you're all about sharing, Chris.
And that's a great way to get to meet people in your area that are willing to come to your place to learn more or to do something that you're going to do. And then you can find out whether that's something you'd really want to have happen, on a weekend where it's just you working. And then you can say, oh, that person was kind of fun working with. If they want to help come paint this thing I'm going to be doing or build this thing I'm going to be building. Then you get a few more of those people over the workshops that you work on, and you get a little group, and then you can kind of send out an email blast, say, hey, I'm going to be building 4 or 5 of these things for my haunt. Any of you guys available this weekend?
Couple of last things. When we're talking about Halloween night, are you guys in full garb, out and about? Are you interacting with the trick-or-treaters as they come by? Because they can't come onto the property. Are you kind of out there, or are you in the background, or what do you do?
So in our property, back in the back of our yard, deep behind all of the props, there's a big open patio with a covered roof
and a fireplace.
So we spend most of our evenings, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays in October, sitting out there
with a screen,
with a TV screen that has all the security cameras on it. And then we watch the crowds, and occasionally we'll walk up when it isn't too crowded. We've realized that if we go up front too often, it obstructs the view from people seeing the display and kind of ruins the magic. So they like to just listen to the music and wander back and forth. So we'll come out there every once in a while. If the crowds get too big, we usually stay back on the patio and just kind of wait it out until it calms down a little bit, because it's just too many people milling about up in front of the gates and the fence and stuff for us to even be able to
And we have a pretty secure Halloween because we have friends that come over. We say, if you aren't on the property by the time we start, like at 6 o'clock, you can't come back. Because we can't open the gates to let somebody in because it's like 5 to 10 people deep on the gate every time. If I start letting people in, then I start getting very unhappy spectators asking me how come they can't get back there. So we've really, on Halloween night, there's nobody out front. We used to try to give out candy. We had to stop. I can't get to anybody.
We got to the point the last time we gave out candy, we had a big bucket of it, like one of those big black plastic cauldrons full of candy. And we couldn't get to the people at the fence line, so one of our volunteers walked out into the street because the street's closed on Halloween night so that they can fill full of people and there's no cars. And they were handing out candy in the middle of the street, and some of the parents were like, I don't know who this person is handing out candy in the middle of the street. It makes me feel uncomfortable, so I don't want to do it. We thought, well, this is just a big waste. We try to push candy onto people, so we stopped buying. We just buy a few bags. We catch the little tots that show up early before all the people come, and then when the crowd starts showing up, we just go back to the fire pit and drink.
What a great excuse not to give out candy.
Yeah, we just can't anymore at this point.
And usually by halfway through the night, I've had too many rums, so I shouldn't go out front anyway.
Yes. We have a rule about not drinking and being out.
Stay away from the public anyway. And we close it down at 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. So if Halloween's on a Friday or Saturday, it's 11. And if it's on a weekday or a Sunday, then we shut it down at 10.
We have sound ordinance in the city, so we respect that.
So we turn all the lights off and close everything down.
Yeah, no, I know. This year it's Monday, so 10 o'clock it is.
Quieter, I hope so. Because I have pictures. I don't usually post them on Facebook, but there's probably hundreds of people on our street almost at any given time. I mean, it's like I said, anywhere 5 to 10 people deep. People trying to see. So Halloween night's just too.
It's
too crazy. Well, we usually have either the dancers or the drama team there doing their little bit that they do. So it's kind of more about the entertainment, I think, on Halloween night more than it is about the yard.
Yeah, everybody wants to see what's going on, what's the thing we're doing.
And it's kind of a fundraiser, too, with the dance team or whoever happens to be there does hot chocolate and stuff across the street and candy and things like that. So it's more of an event for them.
Both the open house thing that we talked about and Halloween night are fundraisers. Mm-hmm. So what we've said is that we collect donations during the week. In fact, we never wanted to take donations, but people were putting money in our mailbox. And so we thought, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe we should have a box that people could put it in. If they really want to give us money, they can put it in this box. So then we had a donation box that we built, and that was fun making that. And so we collect that, and it pays for the beer for the month of October.
We don't make any money.
And then on Halloween night and the open house night, all the money that gets put in the donation box or that people want to donate, it goes for whatever the charity is. So the Thespian, the little drama team, has been doing it the last couple of years, and they raise money, sell cocoa out in the street, and the money that's in the cash box is just all there. So we just give it all to them.
So how many years do you guys think you have left in you? Are you guys riding this thing out into the sunset, or what do you think?
I think we'll continue to do it until we are at a point where we want to sell the house. If we end up selling the house for whatever reason, which right now we don't have any plans to do that.
But if it does happen, then that's it. You're not
that's
going to do
it. It's a big property. It's like a little over half an acre. It's got several buildings on it, several gardens. I mean, it's not a easy upkeep property, and I know that physically at some point I'm not going to want to upkeep this property anymore, and it's going to need to go to somebody younger and not wise, because when I bought it, I thought, wouldn't it be great to have this big yard and all these places to take? Yeah, now I'm getting older, going, where's the guy that mows my yard? Because I ain't doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Just, at some point you're just like, wow, this is, I tell people, I love your property. I said, yeah, it's got 3 buildings on it, which means 3 roofs, 3 houses that need to be painted. It's just a bit of work and a budget as opposed to having one house. So it's a cool property, but it also comes with a price tag and work. I guess if we had tons more money, I guess it wouldn't matter so much. But when you're having to do it yourself, and then the Halloween on top of it, the house would look a lot better if we didn't have Halloween.
Yeah, we could actually work in our yard the rest of the time of the year, and plant plants, and do those things a normal homeowners do.
Yeah. I'd rather do Halloween.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to chat about, mention, work in there? I don't know.
I think we talked about everything. It's pretty much us in a nutshell.
All right, get off my phone. I guess we'll wrap things up. We've been chatting for like an hour or something, an hour plus.
Sure.
You guys got the bonus round this time around. You know, it's funny because when I first used to do these, I think your first interview might have been 20 minutes. It's amazing how much you cannot get in 20 minutes.
Well, Chris, it's always fun to chat with you.
It's always a pleasure.
Uh-huh.
As we say out here in Boston, it's always a pleasure. Wicked retarded to have you on here, like I say, All right, guys. Well, hey, look, I look forward to the 2016 pictures. You guys rock. Congratulations on your major award.
Thanks.
And we'll catch
Yay.
and we'll catch you around the net.
All right.
Sounds good.
I'm going now. Heaven help you.
Please like and follow the podcast. Stalk us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Links in the description. And help us by sharing Hauntcast with all your haunted Halloween brethren. Until next time, stay scary.